works which was written in the history of English children's literature by Lewis Carroll. So first of all, we will start talking about the author, the biography and the career of the writer. So as you see, the Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland was written by Lewis Carroll, yes? So, who is Lewis Carroll? What was the main idea of the work? And so on. Now we will be introduced for you. So as you see, Lewis Carroll was the pen name of the Charles Ludwig Dodgson, the man who wrote a famous book for children, Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland. Yes. He is noted for his facility at wordplay, logic, and fantasy. So, Lewis Carroll was his pseudonym or pen name. Real name was Charles Ludwig Dodgson. The next information about his studies, career. So, Charles Ludwig Dodgson was born in England in 1832. He got his early education at a public school, then he became a student at Oxford University. Charles studied mathematics and later taught his subject in the same college. So Charles Dodgson had no family, but he loved children very much. So here you should pay attention that his main career, his main profession is mathematics. He taught mathematics at the Oxford University and he had no family. Because of it, he retold his fairy tales to another children. So this child's name is Alice Liddell. So Alice Liddell was the daughter of Lewis Carroll's close friend. Yes, close friend. So as you see, he often visited his friend who had a large family. There were 3 little girls in the family. One of them, Alice, was 4 years old. So don't forget, but pay attention. During this time, while Lewis Carroll retold the stories, Alice was 4 years. So, because we will have another information later. So, Dodgson liked Alice very much and he often told her interesting stories which he had made up himself. So Charles told Alice Liddell about the adventure of a little girl and she liked the stories very much. So next information about the Alice Liddell. When Alice Liddell was about 10 years old, now you see it is Alice is 10 years old, 6 years later. So she asked Charles to write down the stories for her and he did so. So he called the heroine of his book also Alice. So this handwritten book had many pictures made by Charles himself. They were not very good pictures, but the children liked them. Now I would like to add some information here. So when Alice Liddell, here was 4 years old, he often visited, friends' home, and every time he retold different kind of, short tales. So then, after that, 6 years later, one of the days, it wasn't included here, but I would like to give you more information. So when one of the days, Alice Liddell's family was visited by one of the writers of Britain. So then, while looking through the handwritten book by Lewis Carroll, this writer, famous writer, offered, to Alice to publish this book. But at that time, Alice told that this book was written by the father's close friend Lewis Carroll, and they asked them the permission to publish this book. After that, this book was published. So, first edition of this work was handwritten. Then it was published and changed several times. So the next one about the book. One day, a friend of the Liddell's, I have forgotten, I have included, So one day, a friend of Liddell's, a writer, came to see the family. He saw the handwritten book made by Charles Dodgson and began to read it with a great interest. He read the book to the end and said that it was good and all the children in England must read it because the stories were so interesting. So Charles decided to publish the book, but he didn't want to do it under his own name. So he took the pen name of Lewis Carroll. The book came out in 1865 and all the people who read it liked it very much. So now some information about this book. So later the book was published in the United States, in France, in Germany and in other countries later. So the first Russian translation of Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland came out means published in 1923. So in England the book was published very many times during the author's life, when the author was alive, and you can always find it in the bookshops today. So Alice's Adventure in Wonderland is still a favorite children's book. So the next information about the book. So now I would like to show you another information about the work itself. So now we will give detailed information about the Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland. So before starting the presentation, I would like to ask you how many times you have watched it?
3 or 4.
In what language?
In Uzbek language.
In our Uzbek language, yes. So, have you ever tried to listen to it in English version?
Yes. When I prepared IELTS exam, I have to watch movies and cartoons, and at the time I watched this movie. Yes.
In order to improve your
my
listening skills, yes. So what about others? In what languages have you ever watched them? So the next question, how do you think, from what age it is better, yes, to watch this cartoon?
6 maybe. 6 plus.
6
plus.
6 plus, yes. Why? How do you think? Why?
Because it is easy to understand at this age, and it will be interesting if children show this movie in this age.
Because the plot is very complex, yes?
Complex.
Yes. So now, as you see, it is Alice, yes? Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland, which was written by Lewis Carroll. So, the next information now about the author, which we have mentioned about it, yes? Don't forget that he is a mathematician, writer, and also a photographer. So do you remember, I have also just one time talked about the brothers Grimm, yes? What was the main profession? Do you remember? Lower, yes? The lower. So, as you see, not all the writers are working on their professions, yes, on their specialist area. So, as you see, Lewis Carroll is also a mathematician and also a photographer. So, he is known for his love of logic, puzzles, and word plays. And the single word which made him famous, it is Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland. So, about the book. The first book was published in 1865. It tells the story of a girl named Alice who falls down a rabbit hole. So she enters a magical and illogical world full of strange creatures. The story explores fantasy, imagination, and the absurdity of truth. So the next information about Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland. It is a fantasy novel written by Lewis Carroll, yes? So it tells the story of a young girl named Alice who falls down a rabbit hole, and also the next information, it was mentioned, the story takes place in a wonderland, a magical and a nonsensical world. So time and logic don't work the same way there. Wonderland is full of unusual places such as the rabbit hole, the Queen's garden, and a mad tea party, and a courtroom run by animals. So it is a place where the impossibles become possible. So because of it, should be watched from the age 5 and 6, yes? When children start thinking. Okay, Alice is a curious and brave young girl who loves asking questions and exploring. She is polite, intelligent, and sometimes confused by the strange rules of Wonderland. As the same, yes? As she meets different characters, she learns more about herself and how to handle confusing situations with courage and kindness. Okay, about the plot, you know, plot is a short summary. Plot summary. So as you see, plot, short meaning of the word, yes? So, what about the plot is? Alice sees a white rabbit with a pocket, yes? Watch and follows him down a rabbit hole. She enters Wonderland where she drinks, yes, potions, grows and shrinks, talks to animals, and takes part in a mad tea party. She meets many strange characters like the cashier cat and the Queen of Hearts. In the end, Alice realizes it was all a dream. So, the story begins with Alice following a white rabbit down a rabbit hole. She enters the Wonderland, a magical place where she grows and shrinks, meets eccentric characters, and faces challenges that tests her courage and wit. So, about the main character, yes? The main character is Alice. So, can you tell me, what kind of girl is she? What kind of
dreamer?
Yes, she likes to dream. Also,
Animals.
Curious, courageous, yes? She is very brave, yes?
Yes, brave.
Okay, so as you see now, we will start talking about main character of the word. It is Alice. So she is a curious and brave young girl. She questions everything and tries to make sense of the strange world. Often confused but never gives up. So learns to be confident and trust her own judgment. An imaginative 7-year-old girl who is protagonist of the work. So do you remember what was the meaning of the word protagonist? And the next, we have the next term, antagonist, yes? Protagonist, it is a positive character which is described in the work. Antagonist, it is a negative character which is described in the work. So, in one work, here may be several protagonists and several antagonists, yes. So, and as you see, Alice is a protagonist. So, she explores Wonderland, questioning its absurdities and learning about identity and growth. So the next characters are the white rabbit and the cashier cat. So you know, yes, white rabbit. You have watched it. So white rabbit is always in a hurry and worried about time. A frantic, anxious creature who leads Alice into Wonderland. He serves as a sort of prime minister of the Queen of Hearts. The next one is the cashier cat, a grinning cat who appears and disappears at will. He offers Alice philosophical insights about Wonderland's madness. It is mysterious and gives confusing advice. The next characters are the Queen of Hearts. So, the next, you see, the temperamental and the tyrannical ruler of the Wonderland, famous for shutting off with their heads. She represents arbitrary authority. The Queen of Hearts, quick-tempered, and loves to shut off with their hearts, as you see. So, the next, the King of Hearts. A timid and ineffectual co-ruler who often pardons those the queen condemns. And the next character is the Mad Hatter, a quirky character who hosts a nonsensical tea party, known for his ridiculous and eccentric behavior. And the next, you see, he likes to celebrate, yes, and birthdays at a strange tea party. The next characters, the March Hare, the mad hatter's companion at the tea party, and equally mad and rude. The next one is Caterpillars, a hookah smoking insect who advises Alice on how to change her size using a magical mushroom. The next one is the Duchess, so an ugly but moralizing character who oscillates between rudeness and excessive affection toward Alice. The next one is Mock Turtle, so a sorrowful creature, yes, a sorrowful creature who recounts his strange education to Alice. And also the next character, the Griffon, a mystical creature who accompanies Alice to meet the Mock Turtle. And the next one is Dormouse, a sleepy guest at the Mad Hatter's tea party, occasionally waking to tell strange stories. Okay, as you see, they were introduced to the main characters of the work. Now, what was the main theme of the story? What is the main moral? Yes? So, the main theme, firstly, imagination and reality. Here will be some kind of comparison, yes? While watching this movie or cartoon. So, growing up and finding identity. So, here will be some kind of challenges, yes, when Alice grows up. So, the confusion of rules and logic, the power and the authority in a nonsensical world, and the importance of curiosity and open-mindedness are described here. What kind of symbols were used in order to describe, yes, ideas? So, the rabbit hole represents entering the unknown and the imagination, yes, because here was described unknown world. The next symbol, the growing and the shrinking, shows how childhood feels confusing. So, because at the same time she grew up and also became shrink, yes. The next characters like Queen show how authority can seem unfair and silly. And the Wonderland itself is a symbol of how strange life can be. The next, style of writing and language of writing. So, it is written in playful and imaginative language, which is very easy for children. So, full of puns, rhymes and wordplay. The next, nonsense used to reflect the confusion of childhood and blends fantasy with logic and satire. About the conclusion, so Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland is a timeless story about discovery and wonder. It celebrates imagination and challenges rules and expectations. So Lewis Carroll's fantasy world continues to inspire books, movies and art. So Alice's journey reminds us to stay curious and think for ourselves. So, in conclusion, Alice's journey teaches us to be curious and embarrassing to the changes. Yes, it is a story that continues to inspire readers of all ages. So, as you see, it was a... So, let's do some activities based on the presentation, yes, to the Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland. So, here I have prepared a worksheet devoted to Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland. As you see, there is given questions concerning the Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland. So, according to your comprehension, yes, of the presentation and also cartoons which you have watched at home, you should answer the given questions. That's all. It is a group work, okay? So, now, the next. You may join your groups, okay? The next. So you will be given 5
and women talking a bit around by here. Undertaking women taking a bit.
And ability. And ability. We have finished it, teacher.
Okay, you may take your seat. No, just take your seat. Then we will check, okay? So you have finished it. Okay, you may also take your seat. You may also take your seats and we will just read aloud your answers, okay? Okay.
Yes.
One thing is working, so we will just wait for them, okay? Okay. Who is the presenter? From the second group, Vilumslar is the presenter. So you may. Okay, you may just take your seat, turn by turn, okay? Okay, the first question.
Why did Alice find her sister's book useless?
Okay, your answer.
Okay, because it had no pictures and conversation in it. That's why Alice finds her sister's book useless.
Okay, the second question.
Man.
Is it correct, first one?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, second question, Zebunusa, please.
What project was Alice thinking to undertake when a talking rabbit ran by her? She was considering making daisy chain.
Okay, is it correct?
Yes.
Yes. The next, Gernara, please. Question number 3.
What did the rabbit do which made Alice burn with curiosity? It pulled a watch out of its waistcoat pocket. The strange behavior of telling a rabbit with a watch and clothes.
Is she correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The next question number 4. Second order, please.
What was when the rabbit hole that Alice found herself falling down? The sides were filled with cupboards, bookshelves, and maps or pictures hung or fixed.
Okay. Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay, next one, please.
Sixth question is, who did Alice think could answer the question of whether cats eat bats? She thought her cat Dina it might be able to answer that question.
Okay, thank you. Take it. I think just one more left. Yes, here, fifth one.
Yes.
Yes.
One.
Okay. Who is ready for the fifth one? Zebunusa, please. Question number 5.
Fifth question. What did Alice try to do when falling through the earth? She tried to make sense of where she might end up and thought about geography and people.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all of you. See you the next worksheet. It is also devoted to the Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland. So it is about the Alice's adventure in the Wonderland, and it is true and false questions. There is just 4 questions which is devoted to this work. Okay. So I would like to come to the blackboard, just one presenter from each group, and use your pen or pencils, okay?
Okay.
Okay, who are they the volunteers? Okay. Please, the next. Okay, can we start? And who had watched Alice in the Wonderland several times? Please come to the blackboard. Just 4 presenters we make. You should here admit it is true or false, that's all. Take your pencil or pen. Imagine, are you ready? Please. Take your pencils or pens. You should here admit which is true and which is false about the Alice's adventure in the Wonderland. Оқып белгілеңдер. You should just look through, read the sentence and identify which one is true and which one is false.
I have finished.
Okay, the look star is finished. The next. There are 5 sentences, yes? Okay, you should stay turn by turn and read your sentences aloud and tell us, is it true or false? Okay. Who will be the first? Remajan. Okay, we will start from Zumrat, please.
Alice didn't follow the white rabbit because she was so tired. It's false.
Okay, is she correct?
Correct.
Yes, correct. Because she followed the rabbit, yes?
Yes.
Second, Remajan.
Second question. The tiny golden cave visits the log and Alice could. It's true.
Okay, it is true. The next, will you start, please?
Alice could answer the riddles as she was a very clever girl. It is false.
The next.
When Alice ate a piece of mushroom, she began growing. It's true.
Okay, the next, the last one. Remajan, please. And have you got any answers?
Yes.
Okay, please.
Alice had never played croquet, so the Queen of Hearts taught her.
Okay. It is true or false?
True. False.
My answer is
Who knows?
false.
So read aloud. Juman.
Alice had never played cricket, so the Queen of Hearts taught her.
So, Alice was taught to play the cricket by Queen of Hearts. Is it true or false?
True.
It's true. So it is true. So you may identify it as a true. So thank you for your participation. Okay, you may take your seats. So the next activity is also devoted to Alice's adventure in the Wonderland. So it is an activity. Here you should find the correct answers and circle. There is given the ready answers. You should just find and circle. Okay? So are there any volunteers? Are there any volunteers? Also. Okay. Any other volunteers? So as you see, there is given, yes, questions, and you should answer the questions by circling the answers. That's all. You should look through the answers and find the correct answer. situation. Individual. So it is called an interaction pattern. While teaching some kind of classroom, you should use different types and activities in different situations, okay? Interaction pattern, it is called. First was group work, the second was individual work, and the third one is also individual work. So have you finished it?
Yes. Yes.
Are you ready? Zedunusa is ready. Mavluda, are you ready?
Yes.
Also? Yes. Okay. So now we will start. First question, please, Zedunusa.
Alisa was thinking of picking up daisies when she saw the white rabbit, because as you mentioned before, she makes like daisy chain.
Okay.
Daisies, yes.
Where have you taken this information, Zedunusa?
From the presentation
Okay.
and from the
Okay.
beforehand or task.
So now I would like to mention you one moment that while teaching this course, I have faced several times this kind of challenges that, for example, I have written this work, yes? So somebody will do the cartoon of this work. Somebody will do the film of this work, yes? Or also, we will have another version. So if this work may be written by another also in another version. So because of it, in the history of children's literature, we will face this kind of problem.
Different.
Yes, some kind of differences in the works. Because I can give you one example. Have you ever watched the cartoon Princess and the Goblin? Goblins.
Yes.
They have this kind of, yes, earth with a short, yes?
King with a crow, the king or the goblin.
Yes, here will be the king, the princess, the mother of the princess will be was died, yes? And there will be several goblins. So in this, yes, work, goblins in the first version of the book, the goblins are described as a bad characters, antagonists, yes. But in the next versions, because it was written several times also, it was written, for example, in France, in Italy, in England, yes, in England. So in other versions, in the later versions, they were described as a good characters because they lived, they were not lived in the kingdom, they lived in the village, and they were described as a good characters. So as you see, you may see this kind of differences. Also, there will be some kind of difference at the ages, at the appearance of the characters, and so on. So the next, second one, Hanola, please.
When the hall dropped and Alice fell, she came up in a three-legged chair. A choose chair.
Correct?
Table?
No table.
Table. So the correct answer is
Table.
Table. Table.
Table.
Просто it is visible as a chair. Ayakları. Aktan kelgan, to'rt ayaklar.
Yes.
Okay, the next Bernard.
Alice drank the entire potion and she began to shrink until she was so little.
Okay.
Potion.
Poison, yes. Zahara.
Yes.
Poison. Okay, the next one is Mavluda.
The dormouse was sleeping between the March here and the Mac header. The correct answer is dormouse.
Okay, Dormouse, is she correct?
Yes.
Okay, are there any extra one? Yes?
Caterpillar.
Okay, the next one is Phoebus, yes? Yeah, hold it. You are correct. The next, Bernard, please. Phoebus and the 6, yes?
The Queen of Hearts used flamingos and hedgehogs for playing croquet.
Okay. Is she correct?
Yes.
The next and the last one, Lola, please.
Trumpet sounded in the distance, calling her to session. Trumpet.
Okay, thank you, Tekkashi. So, all these activities were to, how to say, to show, yes, to present, yes, the work of Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland, to infer the meaning of the work, yes. So, thank you for your participation. That's all.
Thank you.